morning.
Yes.
All right. Good morning, Chairman Holloway, Chancellor Akinley, members of the Board of Trustees. We are pleased to come before you this morning to talk about advancement. And certainly with advancement, the first thing anybody wants to know is where are you and what you're doing. So our goal is 15 million. To date, we are at 3.2 million, and we are about 88% of our goal. We are very confident that we will meet or surpass the goal. We have 2 months left. And we have lots of irons in the fire to close out in 2 months. So we are very confident about getting there. So hopefully we will have great news very soon about a gift. So thank you. I just want to share a couple of things in terms of the next slide of year-to-date comparison. Currently, we are certainly outpacing where we have been for the last 2 years. Which is great, but in the end, it doesn't matter if you don't meet your goal, but we're going to get there. So we're doing very well. We have had a very productive year with the gifts that we have received, and are benchmarking fairly well year to date. So go to the next slide. I wanted to share this with you. This is something that comes from the UNC system, so you can just see where NCCU is as it relates to fundraising. There are about 9 schools that are ahead of us in terms of fundraising, but most of those are the big PWI's Research One institutions, and 7 that we are outpacing. We are doing very well. I want you to pay close attention to restricted giving. People are always talking about we need unrestricted gifts. But if you look at this in the UNC system, every school is 90% or above, except the 2 affiliates, which is School of Math and School of the Arts. So we are no different from other institutions. I want to point that out because some people do think that, we need to do more. We certainly recognize that, but we're no different from any of our sister institutions there. And I suspect that the School of Math and Science just recently finished a capital campaign. And I suspect they had an initiative in order to generate unrestricted support. The opportunity for us is here in planned giving. That number is about 2%. We need to get that number closer to 10%, especially as we talk about enhancing our potential campaign for the near future. That number needs to grow up. So that's where we see great potential. And we are doing very, very well in that area. We've launched some new initiatives with our what we call Crescendo, and we send out a planned giving newsletter every month. On a Sunday, it comes out to anyone 50 years or above, because that's the target range for planned giving. But it might be changing. I need to look at some data. We're happy to drop that number to get a few more people, but that's the area of opportunity for us. So overall, NCCU is doing very well. If you go to the next slide, when we go to our advancement conference meetings, these are the institutions that they compare us to. I forgot to put UNC Wilmington, but we are outpacing them. I think they were around 13 million. So when we look at our comparison, NCCU is where we need to be, but we know we have much more potential, and we look forward to surpassing that. And right now, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Davis to let him talk a little bit about development.
All right, thanks, Susan, and good morning, everyone.
Sister, can we ask questions before, quickly before? Yeah, can you, if you go back to the slide that you had before?
UNC comparison.
UNC comparison. Since we talk so much about data, and I'm so glad that we're beginning to now share this data with our board, because the general discussion is out there whenever you talk about fundraising is people don't use data to. If you look at our peer institutions here, and not just the peer institutions, if you look at non-HBCUs, particularly when you look at something like unrestricted given cash, you can see our position and how many schools we are outpacing here in terms of what we are doing. And it's really very important to stress that because without this data, people just don't know. So I'm saying this, and I applaud you for bringing the data before the board, so that when we are talking about gains that we're making and strategies that we're using, people are able to put those in perspective and really give credit to this institution. So I just want to make a point on this comparison. I mean, places like UNC Wilmington, you can see that we are, competing very well when we are placed against even some of our non-peers. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And we're recognized when we come in the room with our peers of where we are and what we're doing. So, and we're very popular. People want to come and work at NCCU and advancement. So that's a good thing. So we're pleased about that. Okay.
All right. Good morning again, and good morning to all of our trustees here. So I just want to continue a discussion that I was having during our last committee meeting in terms of in that committee meeting, I shared that we're going to be very aggressive in terms of engaging not only corporations, but the ones that are specifically in the RTP area. Our goal and my team's goal is to make sure that we engage all of these companies by the end of the fiscal year, which is June 30. Very aggressive, but very attainable. And so what I wanted to do is to give you a quick update on some of our current engagement that we've had with some of the companies in the local area. I'll start at the bottom with Biogen. Everyone knows who Biogen is. We've had them on campus collaborating with our Bright program. They've done what we call industry nights, where they bring all of their top leaders to Bright and to engage with our students, to talk about their career paths, to talk about internships, job opportunities. And so we've had them on campus several times, but here recently, we've had them back over the last month or two. And out of that partnership now, they have carved out specific internships for our NCCU students. And so I talked about this the last time in terms of not only do we want these companies to give us money, but we want them to create opportunities, specific opportunities for our NCCU students. And Biogen has done that. I want to say they've opened up the door for about 16 or so internships. We've filled about 4 or 5 of those so far, and we're working on the rest of those now. But that's a very good testament to the work that we're doing with companies like Biogen. And as you know, people talk and companies talk. And so if we're doing this with Biogen, the GSKs and everyone else, which we have a partnership with GSK, but all the other life sciences companies will fall in line and say, hey, if you want to do something great and you want to build a pipeline, you don't have to look any further than to go to NCCU. And so we're glad to have them a part of our team. Yardi Systems, they're in Raleigh, North Carolina. They're headquartered, I believe, somewhere out in maybe California, but I know they have a headquarters here in Raleigh. You may have seen the news several years ago where they gave us around $500,000 in scholarship support to create a Yardi Scholars program. We had them on campus probably last month. They wanted to come to campus. They were doing a tour at Duke, at NC State and other places to engage the Yardi Scholar programs that they have. And so they came to campus. And we took them to dinner and we blew them away. They were very, very pleased in terms of the dedication and the intentionality that we have given to our students here. They have partnerships in Morehouse. I believe they have some at Spelman and other places. And they said, in terms of HBCUs and even outside the HBCU realm, you all are very dedicated, and we can see the passion and the care. We can see how the students really, navigate, and gravitate towards you, right? And so because of that, they weren't really expecting to give us any more money anytime soon. They sent us an email and said, because of what we've seen on campus, we want to give you an additional $200,000. And the first $100,000 is already coming to the bank now. And so thank you. And so not only that with them, it's also opened the door to create an additional opportunity that will go outside of providing scholarship support through the Yardi Systems Foundation. And so because of our great work, we've been able to do that. Last but not least on this end, the CEO Roundtable on Cancer. Some of you all may know about this organization. It was started several years ago by George Bush Sr. They're headquartered in Cary, North Carolina. A gentleman by the name of Bob Ingram, who I believe is passed away now, former GSK executive, wanted us at the table real bad several years ago. And it just didn't happen the way we wanted to. But as all good things come back around. So we're now at the table with the CEO Roundtable on Cancer. We're going through the accreditation process now to become a gold standard member of this organization. The reason I mentioned this in terms of engagement, the reason why it's important, as you all know that know about this organization, a lot of the top companies, the top CEOs and executives across the country are at the heads of this table. And by us being a member of this organization now, going through this accreditation process, we've already been told we will now be in a position to get significant funding from not only this organization, but from a multitude of organizations from these leaders that are at the table. They see us at the table, and so we're excited about this partnership. So I want to pivot to our institutional advancement strategic plan goals. I didn't share this the last time. I shared more, I believe, around our overall university strategic plan goals as it relates to advancement, but I want to drill down into our institutional advancement strategic plan goals, goal number 1 and 2. So as you all remember, I asked last time when I came up here, I said I wanted to make sure I reach out to each and every one of you all. So if it hasn't come through yet, it will in the next 5 or so minutes. Each of you all should be receiving an email from me directly, asking for your support and your engagement to take a meeting with me. And in that email, I have specifically outlined 2 to 3 bullet points for how each of you all can help us move NCC forward philanthropically. In addition to that, I've also attached an Excel list of the 300 plus companies in the RTP area that I want to sit down with you and go through with you to see if you know somebody, or if you know somebody that knows someone else that can help us make a connection to some of these companies. Many of those companies, we may already have a connection, but it means a lot more if it's one of your friends versus me cold calling or cold emailing that that person directly that can help us open one of these doors. And so I wanted to, so that email should be coming out to you shortly. And I want to make sure that I engage with you all. We have conversations. I don't think Trustee Mitchell's in the room, but I want to thank him. I want to thank Trustee Martinez. I know you all have already met with me. We've been engaging on a couple of things. So I want to thank you all for having those meetings with me. And I look forward to connecting with each and every one of you all as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chris. And now to the fun part, but the fun part leads to contributions and support of this institution. So the work that we do, people always think it's great and fun, but we actually have a plan in place when we are engaging our alums. So at the MEAC this year, we honored our distinguished alumni, Ms. Shavella Thomas, who worked here for a number of years. I believe Ms. Thomas has 3 degrees from NCCU, but she was our distinguished alumnus. And then we fellowship with our, in partnership with the National Alumni Association, we always do a cruise, and we had lots and lots of fun. It was a fun activity. A little bit of money was raised that they contributed, but everybody had a good time. And this is an opportunity for us to engage people in a more relaxed setting to talk about NCCU. Earlier that day, we had our reception prior to the game, and we received a gift of $125,000 from Donald and Montressa McMillan. Mr. McMillan is a graduate, a 93 graduate here, majored in computer science. But when they got up, they shared a story about their humble beginnings and how they wanted to give back and help this institution. Mrs. McMillan is a graduate of NC State. And what she said that day, she said that although she went to NC State, she loved her school and she supported her institution. She wanted her gift to make an impact. And she knew that if coming here would be much greater gift here than at NC State. She said, NC State does not need my money. And so we are very appreciative of their gift of $100,000 that they established an endowment. And then they also gave $25,000 to be an athletic supporter. But the good news about the Macmillans is that they said there's more. And so now we begin the phase of cultivating them, engaging them in the institution, and bringing them back for a larger gift. And so overall, we had a great alumni engagement at the MEAC, and we're very pleased with the outcome of those gifts. So I want to talk a little bit about the day of giving. We had a tremendous day of giving. I want to thank you all who participated, any of you who were champions that day. We want to thank you very much. Our goal was $600,000, and as you can see, we raised a little over $788,000 that day. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Enoch Bond and Lamisa McCoy for their leadership this day. We went to a new platform, which of course nobody knows that, but it was a tremendous effort to bring that all together in a short amount of time. So when you look at the map, I believe we had gifts from all but 13 states, if my memory serves me correctly. Most of our giving was from alumni, 58%. If you go to the next slide, Chris, 58% was from alumni. We just had a tremendous outpouring of support, and some of our champions and lead gifts were the Alpha Lambda chapter here, and also giving to endowment. So overall, very good. And we look forward to next year of having an even greater platform. And I'm sure Mr. Bond will build out even more pages. But thank you. I want to thank them publicly for their great efforts in making this a successful day. And this Saturday, we will celebrate our chancellor. And I am pleased to say that we are sold out. Now, when you look at my folder here, you might think this is all about Board of Trustees, but it's not. This is all about that because of all the work that we're doing to make it a very special event for the chancellor. We look forward to seeing you there. This is a initiative that will benefit the Johnson O. and Juanita Akinley Endowed Scholarship. So give generously to support it. Put your tuxedos on and your gowns, and we look forward to seeing you there on Saturday. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for the report. I do have a question. There was discussion before about us doing a capital campaign. I was wondering, is there any updates on that moving forward?
Well, as you know, we will have a change in leadership. However, that does not stop us from continuing to build capacity for the campaign. So no matter what happens, but typically when you have a change in leadership, we have to put a pause and let the new leader come in and take a look at our initiatives to see whether she or he wants to change something. But it doesn't stop us from continuing to raise money to support this great institution. So right now, we'll just say we're on pause, but not stopping us from going out here and doing what we need to do to raise money.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes. Chairman, I want to thank the advancement unit. I always want to make this comment because I think this unit has come a very long way. I remember when we were only raising $2 million, $3 million a year. And I know that we've been talking about making a quantum leap. And relative to a conversation that we had in the last board meeting, Rome was not built in a day. And it takes special cultivation to really develop the friendship with corporations and individuals to earn their trust before you begin to pick their pocket. And I think what we are beginning to see in this advancement office now is that cultivation. And I'm so proud of what they are doing because all of the folks that they're bringing to the table, you talk about the cancer group there. We had to be invited as an institution to be at the table. And we wrote a letter to them that I want to be part of that. It was accepted. That is part of cultivation. Folks are not going to come here and just give money to NCCU without that strong partnership. You talk about Biogen, you talk about the ERD Foundation. I think we are really poised and at a point now where people see what we're doing. They see the organizations that are giving us money, and they are coming to the table to explore what they can do. And every time they come, they get very impressed. The couple that we just talked to you about, that Miss Hester just talked to you about in Miak, they were so excited. I hadn't seen people who were excited like that to give money. And they spent the entire day. They were the governor's reception, and he kept saying there is more there because he was so excited about the things that were happening at NCCU. So we need to tell the story because part of fundraising and advancement is telling the story. And I'm really, truly proud of everything that this unit has done in the last 2 years to really position us to be where we are, both in alumni giving, in corporate giving, in developing partnership and providing data to really show what we're doing. So I'm going to encourage them to continue to work in that way. But I think if we continue in that pattern, it's only a matter of time before we hit that, number that we're looking for. So thank you. And thank you for the work that you all are doing in advancement.
Thank you for those words, Mr. Chancellor. Anyone else? Okay. There being no further business before the committee, I seek a motion to adjourn. Meeting adjourned.